5, 3, 2.
Oh, we're live. Look at this, people. We're live. We're back. Listen, I don't got the fancy suit on like this guy below me, but I am your commissioner for the evening. I will be treated with respect, and clock integrity will be very important to us as well. I welcome you in, though, to the Unwrapped annual first round mock draft, might I add. We got some lovely people coming on tonight playing GM. Not so lovely people on the screen with me as well. I'm kidding. I love both of you dearly. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves, mate? Down below.
Oh, is that cute? Do I speak when you do the accent? Yeah. Okay, I got you. This is good. Hello, my name's Callum Squires. I'm here to play the role of analyst, and I'll also be jumping in and making some very good picks for a couple of franchises and then telling you how good my picks are. So looking forward to it. Nice to be here. And go Dolphins. Don't have a pick tonight. We can't get it wrong.
All right, then there's me. I'm just a regular guy, no cool British accent, but the name here is Matt Skura. Going to be a great analyst. And going to be making some great picks for the good old Commanders and the good old Green Bay Packers. Already made a good trade. At least I think it was a good trade. I'll see what Cal has to say about it, but it's going to be very excited. Talking about see who makes the right decision and who makes the bad decision in the draft, and it's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of drama, I'll say, when it gets to mock draft season.
Oh, look at this. I got notifications going off. All right. So, we do have some trades. I'm getting word, right? I think I should be announcing these. Listen, I can't turn the phone on silent. It's my laptop that's making the noise. So, it's a tragedy. But we do have some trades. Let me go into the good old trade finder right here. And let me read you all some things just to get the situation settled before we get into the little pick situation here. All right. So Seahawks have traded their 2020 third round pick and next year's second round pick to the Browns for Baker Mayfield. Also, we have the Eagles trading their 2022 first round pick, number 18 overall, a 2022 third round pick, and a 2023 third round pick to the 49ers for Deebo Samuel, Dre Greenlaw, and Daniel Brunskill. The Falcons are trading Calvin Ridley, Mike Davis, a 2022 third round pick, 82 overall, and a 2023 third round pick to the Packers for a 2021 first round pick, number 22 overall. With all that being said, the Jaguars are now on the clock. And let's have a nice and unbelievable draft, people.
Absolutely. This is going to be a decision to where the Jaguars, I think, in my opinion, they go one of two ways. They could either go the route of protecting their quarterback, going after a guy like Evan Neal, offensive lineman out of Alabama, or they could go fully on the defensive side, whether it's getting Walker out of Georgia or, in my honest opinion, Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. In my personal opinion, I think the Jaguars should go the way of protecting the quarterback. We've seen what happens when you don't protect the quarterback. Look at Andrew Luck. And now the Colts are in a perpetual circle of quarterbacks. But that's just my humbled opinion. I think the Jags should go Evan Neal number one and worry about defense later. And, let's see what Callum has to say about that.
Matt, you're completely right. But this is Jacksonville we're speaking about. And if they can make a wrong decision, they will make a wrong decision. They should absolutely protect Trevor Lawrence. They invested the number one overall pick in him last year. Didn't protect him. And guess what? They're picking number one overall again. It should be Evan Neal. It probably won't be. Let's see who they're going to take here at number one overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it absolutely is. And, I don't see Jacksonville trading down. I don't really think there is a point to trade down. If they were, maybe like the Jets at 4, but then again, if you do trade down at 4, who are you going to get? Like this is the prime position for Jacksonville to be able to get their offensive lineman of the future to help improve the line for Trevor Lawrence and, maybe even help the run game. They're going to have a two-headed running back core of Travis Etienne and James Robinson. And, it's going to be very interesting to see how Jacksonville decides to run this operation,
Well,
and maybe
Matt,
they
there's
can
no
turn
need
things
for
around.
any more speculation, and that is because the pick has arrived. The pick is in. And with the first pick in 2022 NFL Unwrapped mock draft is Aiden Hutchinson. Let's bring on Mr. Perry of the Jags to give his explanation behind the pick. Let you fellas ask a few questions.
Yeah, I'll start off first by saying what made you decide to go more of a defensive oriented route with this pick instead of going after a guy in the offensive line like Evan Neal? Oh no, not the man being
Harry's
muted.
on mute.
Oh,
He's
look
on
at
mute.
this guy.
Not the guy being
There we
muted
are.
on the
There
first
we go.
pick.
We have made our moves on the offensive line this offseason. We have made some improvements there. We already feel strongly about our protection of Trevor Lawrence, and will address this continued throughout the draft. But to pass up on a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, for me, the Trayvon Walker hype is there. There's a lot of hype around a lot of tackles in this draft, but the need for a dominant edge here is definitely the way to go for Jacksonville. To bring back Saxonville, although Josh Allen is coming off the edge at times, he is still a linebacker, and our edge situation still needs some improving there. So definitely the way we want to go, and starting it off with one of the more productive guys in college, if not the most on that side of the ball last season for draft eligibility. 16 and a half tackles for loss, 14 sacks. Can't dispute that production, and we're excited to have an NFL draft ready guy right off the bat.
Yeah, I think you've made a decent decision here in terms of taking the best edge rusher in the draft, but surely keeping Trevor Lawrence on his feet has to be something you're concerned about. How do you see Trevor progressing in season 2 with still potentially a lacking offensive line, even if you do now have an actual coach as opposed to an imbecile running the team?
So we did go out there and sign Brandon Scherf. We did go and attempt to improve this O-line in free agency. It's not like we've left it as the same O-line as last year. We're excited about Jawan Taylor and Tyler Shatley, Cam Robinson there back on the tag. We do feel our offensive line is improved from last season, and definitely will be sufficient with an offense that Doug Peterson's going to be able to curate.
And how much of a difference was there in your draft grades between Aiden Hutchinson, obviously having the incredible season he had at Michigan, and perhaps Kayvon Thibodeau, who's also been tipped as a potential number 1 overall pick?
It was about between all him as well as Trayvon Walker, as well as the tackles in play here. There was a lot of options. So we decided on who was number 1 on our big board.
Thanks, Mr. Aston. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Well, with all that being said, the Detroit Lions are now on the clock.
Yeah, and then one thing I will say for the Lions on the clock, now that their Michigan man is off the board of Aiden Hutchinson, I think this is definitely the pick to where I could see the Lions going after Trayvon Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. I could see them going more defensive oriented. Knowing that Evan Neal is there, I could see them making an argument for that case there. You drafted Penei Sewell last year at 7. You could then draft Evan Neal at 2nd overall this year for sure. Shore up that offensive line for a quarterback besides Jared Goff. Or who knows? This could also be a pick to where we could see the most random thing of all time, seeing the quarterback being taken at number 2. We could easily see that, but I personally think if I'm the Detroit Lions, what I would do is I would take whoever's the best available, and I think right now it has to be Trayvon Walker out of Georgia.
This man just disappeared. Is that what I just saw? Oh,
I think, yeah. Either he disappeared or he's got the Lions pick. So we'll see.
I do believe Mr. Calm is making the pick for the Lions.
And then I know you showed this comment of CJ. Welcome, CJ, for joining in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a bag of barbecue chips for Debo. Why the disrespect for barbecue? I need to know. I feel like barbecue is a decent flavor. Why the shade?
I'm not gonna lie, barbecue chips, disgusting. So,
well, it's not the worst.
no,
I mean, it obviously isn't the best,
garbage.
but it's
Honestly top tier garbage. Not a big fan of barbecue sauce though either. Fight me.
I won't have to there. I think barbecue sauce is in the middle. It's only good for certain things. You can't go all day with barbecue sauce. You got to have it in certain spurts.
Well, you know what? Find out one of these. We're going to find out what. Oh, look at this. Well, the pick is in. The pick is in. With the second overall pick, the Detroit Lions have selected quarterback Malik Willis.
Oh, Malik Willis. All right. Let's bring up the good old Lions GM. I'll ask you, Mr. Lions GM, what made you decide to go with Malik Willis at number 2 overall in this draft when you had a guy like Trayvon Walker on the board or Evan Neal?
Well, quite frankly, Jacksonville ruined this entire thing by taking our guy at number 1 overall. We were all in on Hutchinson. That's the guy we wanted. But when he disappears at number 1, we then have a decision to make. And being the Detroit Lions, with MCDC, Dan Campbell, as our head coach, we have to embrace the chaos. And we decided that if we're ever going to compete in an NFC North, we need a quarterback who can be that guy for our team. Malik Willis's ceiling is up here. It's out of the frame. And we needed a guy who could get us to the next level. Jared Goff is a nice placeholder, but Jared Goff is not the guy for the future. If anybody has the ceiling in this draft at the quarterback position, it's Malik Willis to create a brand new Detroit Lions franchise. And being in this position, we don't want to be here again. We've decided the quarterback is the root. The defense will come with time. We also have a late first-round pick that publicly, I'd like to state, is now on the block if anybody was interested in talking to us. But the Detroit Lions have decided to go the quarterback route, and we're very happy with the decision we've made. Malik Willis is a fantastic young man.
He absolutely is. Now that you have Malik Willis, are you going to be looking to trade Jared Goff for anything, or is it going to be a QB competition to see who's a starter week 1 and kind of just go from there?
Certainly, Jared Goff is still the starter for now, and we believe in Jared leading us for the next couple of seasons, probably. Malik will need some time to develop, and I think you've seen a lot of elite quarterbacks in this league have come in, have sat for a season or two, and then been able to produce on the field. Certainly, when the Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes a few years ago, nobody knew the ceiling that he had, and certainly nobody knew the ceiling he had when he was sat behind Alex Smith for his first season of his career. So we're following that routine. Jared Goff is our starter for the 2022 season, barring any emergencies or injuries. And we'll cross that bridge with Jared afterwards. We let him know before we made this pick that this was the route we were going. And we believe we've handled it properly.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's hope that Malik Willis turns into that future quarterback that Detroit has been very much looking for since you guys decided to ruin Matthew Stafford's career.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford, a complete and utter traitor, leaving us going to the Rams. Quite frankly, despicable. We wish him well, but we are disappointed in how that went down.
Well, listen, the Houston Texans now on the clock. So we'll have that pick when it is available. But the Houston Texans are now on the clock in this mock draft.
I think for the Houston Texans at 3, it's a no-brainer. You have to take Trayvon Walker. The Texans got a lot of holes, whether it's on the defense, on the offense, whether it's at the masseuse line. You got a lot of holes everywhere that has to be filled. But Trayvon Walker there. It's a no-brainer for me. You got to take Trayvon Walker. You could also make a case for Evan Neal, but I think at this point for your defense is very much an issue for the Texans. Getting Walker there, I think, will be a good step in the right direction for them.
I think there's 2 things to say on this. Walker is obviously a great talent, but are we certain that he is definitely a better prospect than Thibodeau? I'm not entirely certain. There has been talk all week that Thibodeau could go as high as number 1. Walker, obviously, a bit of a late riser up draft boards. But I do agree that I think, if they're going to go defense, it's probably going to be Trayvon Walker. They may not have expected to find him here at 3. And so there's an opportunity for the Texans to add an elite defensive player. But as far as the Texans' priority goes, for me, it has to be protecting Davis Mills, who they appear to be putting their money behind it as the starting quarterback. So I would be looking at Neal or Ekwonu, maybe even Charles Cross if they have him high up the board as an offensive lineman for the Texans here.
Absolutely. You have to protect the draft neck and Davis Mills, so they could easily go that route. I mean, this team's got a lot of work, a lot of issues to go through. Obviously, them, moving on from Deshaun Watson, I think it's a good step, in the right direction for them to, evade all of what has happened there with that situation, because that was quite a scene there. But, the Davis Mills era has started. The Texans, they also got the 13th pick, so we'll see what they do there at pick number 13. But, depending on what Houston does here at number 3, I think you could go either way. You could go lineman, you could go defense. Somebody is going to help the Houston Texans.
Tell you what the Texans are doing is the Texans are taking their sweet time turning this pick in. That's what the Texans are doing.
Well, Mr. Lyon, I have to ask you, do you think your accent makes it more difficult for you to be a GM in this league?
Yeah, I've experienced, looking like this as a straight white male European. I've obviously experienced a lot of discrimination in my life. And quite frankly, this accent has led to many problems being taken seriously in the NFL. But I'd like to think that I'm here, planting a flag for Europe, for the UK.
And about how much tea
building the game
are we talking?
Since you're a GM of the Detroit Lions, the England flag for the British national team has 3 lions. 1, 2, 3. Did you take one of those lions and place it on there? Or?
Well, I mean, quite frankly, I thought I was back in the analyst position as opposed to the GM position right now. But as the GM of the Detroit Lions, I fully intend to.
Listen, I hate to break it off here, but we got to pick in.
Great.
The pick is in from our GM now. Unfortunately, will not be able to join us. Still a little busy right now, but he's going with Evan Neal. For the Houston Texans.
This is a good pick for the Houston Texans. Protecting Davis Mills has to be the priority for next season. As a rookie, he outperformed many higher drafted rookies. Some even saying he had a better season than Mac Jones. I mean, Davis Mills performed really, really well. Love you, Kamish. And basically, Evan Neal is the kind of guy who has to be able to protect Davis Mills and give the Texans a leg up in this division. Let me put it this way. The Texans could fall into third place in that division because the Jaguars are so inept that they didn't take an offensive lineman number 1 overall. But secondly...
I hate to break you off again. I have a statement from our GM.
Great.
Said, we need some muscle on the O-line, and there's no better pedigree than learning under Nick Saban. Davis Mills might be the future, or he might be trash. Either way, this is the move we need to give him to succeed.
I think that was a flawless executed statement, what was said. But proceed, Callum, on to your analysis.
No, I think it's the right decision. The AFC South is a weak division. The best team in it are the Indianapolis Colts. And even they, are set up for a kind of a 2-year period here with Matt Ryan before he fully falls apart. So it's a division that if you can build a strong young roster around a cheap quarterback like Davis Mills, you could be setting up for success in a couple years' time. So protecting him with Evan Neal, he's pro-ready out of Alabama. I love the move. I think it's a great decision. And now let's see what absolute nonsense the New York Jets do here at 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was a great pick by the Texans. They helped shore up the offensive line to try and protect Davis Mills, and Evan Neal is the most pro-ready lineman in the draft. And let's see what career the Jets decide to ruin at number 4.
Well, at number 4, the pick is in from the New York Jets. They are going with Trayvon Walker.
Interesting.
As we bring in our GM, Mr. Perry, once again. Oh, there we go. Perry, you're muted again.
Can see the icon.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Welcome back, GM.
Thank you. I'm switching to a new GM hat. It's my Joe Douglas hat here. It's the
Seeing ghosts.
For us here, this is a no-brainer. Trayvon Walker is debatably the number 1 player in this draft. If you see a lot of analysts, a lot of people here, it's just an easy pick for us here. The most athletic player, at least in regards to raw athleticism, wasn't quite as the stat stuffer as Aiden Hutchinson was. But for us here, it's just a no-brainer. Add him there to a defense that's already somewhat solid but needs improvement, and we're going to continue to build on the successes that we had off with the last draft and hopefully keep hitting on draft picks until our team as a whole becomes successful behind Coach Saleh.
Mr. Aston, were you surprised that Trayvon Walker fell all the way to number 4? Are you laughing at the clowns in Detroit right now? And beyond that, were there other considerations to areas of the defense that you might want to look at, like cornerback perhaps?
Yeah, personally, we attempted to try and get Aiden Hutchinson by moving up. We were unsuccessful, and this was just number 2 on our board, and it was a no-brainer for us falling down at 4.
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. When you saw Trayvon Walker fall to number 4, what made you decide to take Trayvon Walker instead of a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau? Was there like a different separation between the two, or was it kind of a 50-50 flip? You couldn't go wrong with either or.
Really close between a lot of the players in this year's draft, between Thibodeau, between Hutchinson, between Walker, and we'd be happy with any of the 3 of them. So we're happy with who we walked out with today. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Aston.
With that being said, the New York Giants, they are on the clock with our GM, Mr. Christian. So have at it, boys.
Yeah, I wanna see what he has up in sleeve for pick number 5, because we just saw on for his pick number 7, because the Giants have the 5th and the 7th. We saw a trade that the Giants will send the 7th pick, and the Cowboys send CeeDee Lamb. From what I see in the group chat, I'm not sure if that's confirmed, but if
confirmed,
if that is quite the dilemma. Because now the Giants will have their guy at receiver, CeeDee Lamb, and it's kind of like what are them boys doing? What are the Cowboys doing? That's just an absolute travesty of a trade. It was a disaster. I don't see any significance why you would do that. You have Michael Gallup who's hurt, and you basically send away your wide receiver 1 for a 7th pick, unless if they really believe in Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave or Drake London. It makes absolutely 0 sense for me to do that. But seeing that the Giants also have number 5, I think this is the perfect situation for them to draft Kayvon Thibodeau. I think they need somebody on that defense. I think Thibodeau is right there at 5 for them to take, and I think you have to go with that option because you have your weapon as CeeDee Lamb, and it also kind of in a way kind of signifies of what happens with Kadarius Toney now that CeeDee Lamb is on the team.
If I didn't know better, I would say that whoever's controlling the Cowboys, this must be Jerry Jones' doing. He must be drunk. He must be trying to sabotage the team. Trading away CeeDee Lamb is a travesty, an absolute disgrace. The Giants, unbelievably, are all of a sudden relevant in the NFC East. Sorry, the NFC East, excuse me. The fact that the Cowboys would trade this in division is even more confusing. But Kadarius Toney and CeeDee Lamb as a 1-2 punch will make up for the absolute corpse of a receiver that is Kenny Golladay. And the Giants all of a sudden have a potentially potent offense if Saquon Barkley can stay healthy. It's baffling from Dallas. I don't understand it, but it's great for the New York Giants. And let's see where they go number 5 overall.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what the Giants decide to do at number 5 here, because the Giants they have an opportunity here. I think the division now is wide open. You can make a case for the Eagles, make a case for the Giants, and you got the Cowboys and the Commanders. It's a wide open book to see what the Giants decide to do at number 5 per se.
Well, I believe the pick is semi-in, but it's not actually in because Christian doesn't know how to work a phone. And
sounds like the New York Giants organization.
And actually text people.
Well, to be fair, he's playing a role.
You know what? Here we go. Matt, play the sound for me. Christian has picked. Christian, you can go ahead because you didn't even actually give me a name. You just said the first name because I know typing is very difficult for you. Look at this. Even you're muted.
What is this guy doing, bro?
I told you that.
Terry had me muted again.
I swear, this guy Perry's trying to sabotage, man.
He doesn't want to see me be great, but we're going to be great.
He's technically challenged.
So, yes, we got our boy Ekem. To me, he was the number 1 offensive line in this draft. Doesn't have the higher ceiling that Evan Neal does, but his versatility around the offensive line is just going to help us out whether Andrew Thomas goes down, whether we need to slide him around left guard, right tackle. Ekem is just a baller. He's terrorized the ACC for the last 2 years. We need him on our roster. And yes, to confirm, the Dallas Cowboys have traded me CeeDee Lamb for pick number 7. So if Daniel sucks next year, we're literally going to take him out back and shoot him because he has completely no reason to suck it up in this offense. He has 2 top offensive linemen, 2 top receivers, depending on if I decide to deal Kadarius Toney or not. But I understand the defense could have gone Kayvon Thibodeau here. Not a big Trayvon Walker fan. I think he's a bust, but I'm very happy that Ekem slid all the way to me at number 5. I think this offense, in the NFC least, when every team is bad, I think that having a good offense, is going to give you a chance to compete in that very bad division. So I appreciate you guys having me on, and
Mr. McGowan, just one quick question. You appear to have pulled off the best trade in draft history since the Cleveland Browns took Vontae Mack, Terry Cruz's son, and David Goddamn Putney a few years back. So credit to you for pulling off this trade with the Dallas Cowboys. How on earth did you persuade them to give up arguably a top 5 receiver in the league?
Yeah, I was gonna say that same thing. How did you manage to do this? How were you talking to the Godfather or something, or
it's one of those beautiful things where I don't know if it's the Cowboys' hubris and them just making bad decisions, but GM called me up about a minute before the draft, said any players available, said pick number 7. I said we could make a deal around pick number 7. He said that's good with me. So stopped negotiating, put my foot in my mouth, and made a deal.
And was there any interest in taking the obvious upgrade by getting rid of Daniel Jones and bringing in Dak Prescott?
You know what? With the quarterback class in the next 2 years, our quarterback is not in 2022. 2023, you have Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, potentially other people. In 2024, you have Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, and potentially some other guys in that draft too. So, we're not that we're going to tank necessarily, but the quarterbacks significantly jump up in the next 2 classes. So,
and last question: do we really believe that Caleb Williams is going to develop in a hellhole like USC?
If you actually took the time to watch the spring game yesterday, USC is definitely back, baby. And Mario Williams is going to be the classic USC Marquise Lee, Robert Woods wide receiver. And just want to appreciate USC and to have fun, enjoy.
Well, listen, with all that being said, Christian, I'd love to keep talking to you, but I'd be lying to myself if I actually said that. So we're going to take you out of here. The Carolina Panthers are now on the clock with our GM of Josh representing them.
Yeah, I want to be interested to see what Josh does at number 6, because Josh could go either one of these 2 ways. He could either ride with the ghost man himself and Sam Darnold, or he could just completely decide, nah, I don't need no ghost man. Give me a different quarterback. Now that Malik Willis is off the board, he could easily go a Kenny Pickett route. He could easily go a Matt Corral route. But I also think at this point, for the Panthers, you just need somebody on offense, I think, besides a quarterback. I don't think this is the class to take a quarterback in. I know the Lions took Malik Willis, but the Lions are the Lions. You never know what they got up their sleeve. I know they got MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell, but they weren't biting a lot of kneecaps. You can make a case they only bit 3 kneecaps. That's not a lot of kneecaps to bite. You got to bite, at least 9 to 10, accumulating into wins. But
the Panthers could do absolutely anything here. I've even heard rumors that Christian McCaffrey.
Well, we're going to find out what the
Panthers
are going to do here. We're going to find out because the pick is in. With the 6th pick in this draft, the Panthers have selected Charles Cross. We bring in Mr. Josh, our GM here.
Yeah, we were.
All right,
we were hoping to get, we're hoping to get Ekem or Evan Neal to fall to us when we saw Malik go too, but it didn't fall that way. We considered Kayvon Thibodeau. We considered Kenny Pickett, but, we're already paying Sam Darnold $18.5 million. Let's protect him and see what he can do with it. So we're going with Charles Cross.
And was there any intention to maybe make a trade before the Seahawks did earlier today and get Baker Mayfield based on the fact that Sam Darnold is completely and utterly useless?
Yeah, we definitely considered it, but we kind of looked at, what we're giving up, and is it that much of an upgrade that we're willing to make a move like that, or ride with Sam Darnold? And we believe in Sam Darnold. Bob McAdoo does, so I do as well.
Absolutely. I do also want to throw out, I think the Charles Cross selection is a great pick there to help protect the O-line. Do you also think you also made the Charles Cross pick to maybe help bolster up the run game for a CMC, or as some people call him, Mr. Glass, so he could maybe have a healthy season for once? Because I know once Christian McCaffrey is rolling, the Panthers can be rolling. So I think, Charles Cross, I think is going to be a great pick for you guys. It'll be interesting to see what the Carolina Panthers do throughout the rest of this draft. But I think for right now, I think it's a great start for what they have going for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The goal is to keep CMC healthy. When he goes, we go. So bolstering up that O-line, give Brady Christensen a chance to try to find his place at guard on this team with the tackles locked up with Moton and Cross. So, yep, hoping to keep CMC healthy for fantasy owners and our own fans' sake.
I do also want to say, to close it out, why did you hire Ben McAdoo?
I find myself asking that question pretty often, but we're just going to wait until week 1, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Josh,
he's not the coach I'm worried about most of all. Let's just put it.
Josh, with all that being said, we appreciate you. We appreciate that pick, and we'll see you around there, boss. All right, next up, because of the trade, the Giants are no longer on the clock. It would be the Cowboys, I believe, right? Because of the trade that went down.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
the Cowboys are on the
got
clock at the number 7 pick, and we'll wait on them.
Let me tell you, considering the trade they made, this
I
could go
need
any
to
direction.
see.
This surely has to be a receiver if you get
Should be
rid
a
of CD,
quarterback,
but
not a
clearly
good one over there.
the Cowboys' war room are high as hell right now. So basically, anything could happen here. There's defensive players on the board that they did not expect to be there at 7. I'm looking at you, Sauce Gardner. I thought for sure Sauce Gardner would be a top 5 pick, but here we are. The Lions kind of screwed everything up for everybody else. But the Cowboys could do absolutely anything with this pick. They could do anything.
Now, if I'm seeing this correctly, I believe the pick is in. And the Dallas Cowboys have selected Kenny Pickett. We bring on John.
This has to be a troll.
We bring on John, our
no
GM.
way.
I believe. Listen, John, you could be trolling me, and you're not even actually the GM. But
I'm Jerry Jones' great grandson, so I don't really know what to tell you outside of the fact that Kenny Pickett's the future. He's by far the best quarterback in this draft. I think by far the best player. Sauce Gardner is probably going to be like 2 years and out in the NFL if I had to guess. I don't see his potential. I don't know why everyone's freaking out about him. He's really not that good. I could probably get by him on a hot route if I'm being honest with you. Kenny Pickett he's an arm like no one else in this draft. He was lighting up wide receivers at Pitt, which keep in mind Pitt blows. So if he's making wide receivers at Pitt look like top picks, then he's got something going for him. I know CeeDee Lamb's not there, but the fact that we're not gonna have any good wide receivers anymore, and he's gonna be able to make it work with guys like Terrence Williams and others. So I think this is a great pick for our program, our franchise, or move forward. And Cowboys Nation is going to win the Super Bowl next year, actually. That's my pick to win the Super Bowl. No CD, add Kenny Pickett, Super Bowl.
Mr. Creveling, would you submit to a random drugs test right now just to make sure that you're in the right state of mind to be making these moves on behalf of America's team?
Well, America's team is going to prevail, you know what I mean? We have the right crew to go to the Super Bowl next year. The Giants are going to blow like they always do. Eli Manning's not here anymore. The Eagles are rooted for by Ben Hoyt. Shout out Ben if he's watching this. That means they're not winning. You're out of your mind. And then you got the Commanders. They've changed their names, 3 times in the past 5 years. Can't win a championship with that kind of inconsistency. Cowboys, boom, mark it in.
Now I think, listen, I'm the commissioner, but I need to know this too because, if we have to drug test people, I'm probably the head of that. Are we doing anything with Dak here?
If I'm being honest with you, we're probably going to cut him.
That's fair with me. I think he's trash too.
I was gonna say,
what does he have left? What does he have left, bro? If you look at his football IQ and you're gonna rush that in the final seconds of the game against the 49ers, do you think you can win a Super Bowl with a quarterback? Let's be real around here. He's not winning a Super Bowl.
Listen,
Connie's speaking my language.
I love the pick. Big fan.
I mean, I will say it's quite a unique pick, but I also kind of want to throw in there. You traded CeeDee Lamb. why would you trade CeeDee Lamb for just a seventh pick, which you
and then not take a wide receiver?
I see Kenny Pickett being the future of not only America's team but the United States. I see him running for president after he wins the Super Bowl with the Cowboys.
You know what? How about this? Are you going to trade Dak Prescott to try and possibly get a Deebo Samuel so he can snatch chains off the defense?
We're cutting him. Free up cap space.
So you're not going to look for any trade for Dak Prescott. You're just
going to free up cap space for our other players we're bringing in.
Are you gonna use that? Are you gonna use that dead cap money to pay off your legitimate daughter?
Wow. Well, she's my I think my grandmother. So I don't really know, to be honest with you. But I just see so much potential in this group we have right here. I know Callum's really inspired by my picks. But
you out of your goddamn mind.
Kenny Pickett, 2036, mark it in.
Well, listen, we'll mark it in. We're gonna move on. Thank you, John, for joining us, and stay away from the shrooms. Okay, there, bud.
Absolutely
electric.
That's
the right way to end it.
Absolutely electric.
Next up, we have the Falcons. Okay, the pick is already in too. By the way,
at least this one makes
fast here now. The pick is in, and with that number 8 pick in the draft, the Falcons have selected Drake London. We bring on
where did he go to college again?
That's a great question. I couldn't care less.
He went. I think he went to USC. I'll start off.
I'm a new GM. The hat's backwards. I'm a new GM.
I'll start off first by saying, Christian, you go in this 8th pick. You select a great player like Drake London. How big of an impact do you think he'll make for your receiving room, knowing how bleak it is besides Kyle Pitts?
I consider, just as the Patriots did in their 2021 offseason, I don't have receivers and tight ends. That's racist. I just have pass option threats. That's all I have. If you can catch the ball, running back, whatever you identify as on offense is just grand with us. So having Drake London, a type of player who, mind you, was on USC's basketball team to start his tenure at USC as well, pairing that kind of athlete with Kyle Pitts, I mean, it's just going to be ridiculous. The height is so scary. Perry is quivering next to me because they're just so stout with height. And, Drake London, I got to shout out Drake. He also he's an 805 native. He went to my high school as well. So I got all love for that pick. No matter what you say on the critic wise, this was all loyalty to my college, Callum, and also loyalty to my hometown. But beyond that, I really do think that you look at his 2022 season, 21, when USC was banged up, he was basically the best wide receiver, had some of the best stats, only playing 8 games, injuring his foot. So I think if you got the full, a 10-11 game schedule, he for sure would have won the Blithnikoff Award. So, I mean, Garrett Wilson, I do think he has a ton of potential, but I think Drake London for sure has the highest ceiling in this draft. And next year when the Falcons take a quarterback, that offense is going to blow up.
Mr. McGowan, I have no issue with the Drake London pick whatsoever. He's a fantastic receiver, regardless of which college he went to. I think he's a talented young man who has a great ceiling in this league. But was there ever a thought of maybe testing the waters with a Jameson Williams with that electric breakaway speed who could be the kind of weapon that turns into a Tyreek Hill or someone of that ilk?
So I know this may not be the best comparison, but Drake London at USC was able to be competitive with when Amon-Ra St. Brown was there, when Michael Pittman was there the year before. No disrespect to Jameson Williams, it definitely he could not break the rotation effectively with the Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson at Ohio State. So while he did do well in Alabama's offense, I definitely think I can't remember what Todd McShay says, the breakout year or the breakout factor was just a little bit too late in Jameson Williams' career for me. I wanted someone who had hit that star quality, freshman, sophomore year.
Makes complete sense. Very well explained.
Well, as Christian said, he does not like wide receivers or anything like that. He likes ball catchers because Christian himself likes to do that quite often. With that being said, Christian, we remove you once again. Thank you for joining us. And we also have some news on the trade end. So
Connie's showing no mercy to Christian. Absolutely ruthless.
The Seahawks have traded the 9th overall pick to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for the 12th pick and a 3rd rounder this year. So,
speaking in my role as the Seahawks GM, I would just like to explain why we have made this trade.
Hold on. Well, before you do that, I just have to say this. The Vikings are on the clock.
forgive me. I'm very happy for Minnesota to have this
next time.
opportunity
Don't
to
worry
pick
about it.
Yeah, as the Seahawks, we felt like moving back and adding an extra pick. We've acquired a 3rd round pick in this trade. We think the Seahawks defense has multiple holes that need to be filled, and so moving back 3 spots, the same amount of, especially right now with the players on the board that we did not expect to be there, based on the fact that the Lions took Malik Willis and an idiot took Kenny Pickett. We kind of have ended up in a situation where we feel like we're going to get a great defensive player at 12 rather than 9.
Well, the Vikings
We're very happy.
believe that they have gotten a wonderful pick as well, because the pick is in from our GM, Mr. Josh. And with that 9th pick, they are selecting the Vikings, Derek Stingley Jr. And we bring in Josh to explain his pick.
Hello, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Okay, I'll start off first by saying, Josh, what went into the decision of trading up from 12 to 9? Were you panicking that somebody might have took Stingley earlier in the draft, and you just do it just to further ensure that you get your main corner?
Well, I think that you heard it just a second ago. The Seahawks, they have a lot of holes to fill, and we really think that this is the best cornerback in the draft. We've had him on our board the entire time, so we were very worried that the Seahawks were actually going to pull the trigger and take the cornerback that we were wanting for. This works out perfectly for our team. We could not be happier with the player that we got in Derek Stingley Jr. You know, there are things that fit, and then there's Stingley with the Minnesota Vikings. Now he now gets to go learn under his former mentor, Patrick Peterson. It couldn't work out. I guess work with the secondary coach, Deontay Jones from LSU, once again in Minnesota. So everything that works out, our coaches wanted him. Our coaches believed him. We think that this is a guy who can really take our defense to the next level. You guys know, the defense is what we struggle with a little bit this year. Whenever we have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Rudolph, we can score. We just got to be able to stop people from the other side of that ball, and this is the first step to that, getting the most elite cornerback in this year's draft.
It makes complete sense from Minnesota. I think you're adding a great piece there. Clearly, you've had success with LSU talent in the past. Not just, Peterson being a mentor to this kid, but also what you did with Justin Jefferson and what he's had gone on to achieve. So clearly LSU's pedigree is something that Minnesota like. Can I ask you for your breakdown in terms of Derek Stingley Jr. versus Sauce Gardner and why you ended up with Stingley specifically?
With Stingley, we think that he's just a better fit. He's got the athleticism. We know that there's been the health question that's come up, but he was a top 5 prospect his freshman year. He was going against guys like Jamar Chase, all the elite receivers. We don't have any – obviously you saw from the combine from what he showed this spring. We don't have any concerns about his health. We think that this kid is going to come in, make an immediate impact. Sauce is right there. He's number 2 definitely in the draft. Whoever drafts him is going to get a really good cornerback. We just – all the intangibles, all the athletic decisions that go into it, being able to, have that winning factor, the thing that we love here in Minnesota, that's Derek Stingley Jr., and that's why we went with him.
I think it was an absolutely great selection. Will we possibly see a gritty out of you, since you like to go with the LSU product? Justin Jefferson or Derek Stingley. Will you bust down like a gritty of some sort for the fans out in Minnesota?
Let me tell you this: the first pick 6, probably week 2, from Derek Stingley Jr., you'll absolutely see a gritty out of me in the stands, up in the box.
All right, I'll be looking forward to seeing that out in the box. I also wanted to close out by saying you hired the Rams offensive coordinator. I believe it was Kevin O'Connell. What are the expectations for him in his first year in Minnesota? Do we expect like a playoff appearance, or are we trying to strive for a potential division title?
A division title is absolutely on our radar. We believe that what we have here in Minnesota, we believe that we're a Super Bowl contender. Year in and year out, our offense is still just as good as every other in the nation. When you have Dalvin Cook as your running back, being able to run over everyone and do whatever he wants, throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, and then building on our defense like we have, changing things that we do, the sky's the limit for us in Minnesota, and that's what we're going to see. We're going to achieve everything that our fans want this year. This is the year for Minnesota.
Well, Josh, we appreciate everything that you've done for the Vikings, of course, and for the Unwrapped mock draft. We thank you. We'll see you later on, I believe. And we move on from there. The Jets are now on the clock with pick number 10. I believe Perry is our GM once again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what he is going with. But
I think this is a no-brainer, Kayvon Thibodeau. No-brainer for me. If you're the Jets, you see Kayvon Thibodeau fall down to 10, you got to select him. You need somebody for that defense. Seeing what you did with the 4th pick and getting Trayvon Walker, I feel like if you're able to get a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau to help out with that defense, I think you'll be in a solid position. Here, I got a call. Somebody's trying to trade for me. 1 second.
Interesting moves all around the board. I personally would go in a slightly different direction. I think the New York Jets could and maybe should have taken Sauce Gardner at 4, and the fact that he's still here at 10 is a miracle.
Well, Cal, would you like to know what they've done?
I would love to know what they've done.
Well, but that's because the pick is in. And
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah, Matt's a little busy there. So with the 10th pick in this draft, New York Jets have selected Mr. Sauce Gardner.
It's an intelligent pick, which for the New York Jets is saying something. Mr. Aston, great job. Must be very happy that somehow Sauce Gardner has fell all the way to you at number 10. And so, to end up with Trayvon Walker and Sauce Gardner in the top 10, is this the return of Gang Green?
Ignore my dancing here because we just won the draft. Just to put that out there, for us to walk out of the top 10 with Trayvon Walker, who is debatably the number 1 pick in this draft, if you see a lot of people's mocks, for us to get a steal there, him or Kayvon would have been a huge win. We're happy with Trayvon. And for us to walk out with Sauce Gardner, also would have been happy with Derek Stingley. We were locked in on going edge and corner. But to see Stingley off the board, well-deserved. But for us, we had Sauce Gardner numero uno on our board. So we are happy to be walking away with Mr. Sauce with this pick here. And Gang Green is back.
I mean, it's fantastic for New York Jets fans all over the very small area in which they live in. But, for the Jets, that's a return to a fearsome defense. And Sauce Gardner, I think, for me, he's the best cornerback in the draft. That's no disrespect to Stingley, who's a hell of a product. But yeah, Sauce Gardner is the real deal. He will cover anyone. And I think the Jets can be delighted about that.
What a day. What a day.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'll say absolutely. I was a little shocked by the Sauce Gardner pick at first, but when you think about the Jets need a lot on the defense. And I think when you see a guy like Sauce Gardner, who's one of the top-rated cornerback prospects, fall down to 10, I think that's one of those picks to where you can't really pass up on it, and you have to take what's best available. And I think best available at that time was
our current corners and Hamer are about to be a problem there. It's going to be great. We got Reed already locking down islands over there. We're going to add Sauce to the mix along with Hall, who we drafted a year or so ago. So we're happy men here, and I believe it's New Jersey where our stadium is.
True. Don't represent New York, okay?
NJ, stand up.
Perry, thank you for joining us. I don't know if you're back or not, so good looks, brother. All right, with that being said, the pick is number 11, and we have the Washington, not football team anymore, no, Commanders on the clock at number 11.
We're rolling through this. I think the Commanders, you're likely looking at a wide receiver here. They need someone to go along with Terry McLaurin. If Carson Wentz is going to have any chance whatsoever, you're going to need people in all manner of positions for him to throw to, because God knows he's not going to be accurate with it. So maybe if he just kind of shuts his eyes and throws the ball, it might hit one of the receivers in the hands.
Well, first of all, you got to stop disrespecting Washington or Wensington, D.C. First of all, second of all, the pick is in, and with the number 11 pick in this draft, the Washington Commanders have selected Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And our GM's already with us.
Yes, sir. What's cracking? So with this pick, it was a no-brainer. We had to go with the best receiver. We were looking at Drake London, but we had a feeling that Drake London could have been selected earlier. So we also went for Garrett Wilson. I think he was the best spot for us. Other people they look at, Chris Olave or Jameson Williams, but we never know what they're going to look like. Garrett Wilson looked like the top tier prospect. And when you got our quarterback, Wentz DC, he was Wentz Philadelphia, that ship sailed. He was Wentz Annapolis, that ship sailed. Now he's the as they would say, the commander in chief for our football team. I'm very excited to see what we can do here. We're definitely going to work on an extension for Terry McLaurin, so there's no need to worry about that. We pair him up with another Ohio State guy in Garrett Wilson. I think this is going to be make or break, though, for Carson Wentz. I think he's going to break through. I think we're going to see some flashes, maybe even possibly an MVP vote for Carson Wentz this year. I have a lot of high expectations. I think our defense is going to bounce back and be a lot better because we're going to be healthier. And, there's too much disrespect around for Carson Wentz. I think he has to try and be respected again. I think Garrett Wilson is going to exactly help with our receiving core.
Mr. Skura, considering the options that were on the board, I think that's a very wise decision. And considering the fact that the Cowboys appear to be attempting to implode as a franchise, do you now see this as a season where it's NFC East title or bust for yourselves and Carson Wentz, trying to take command of that division?
Absolutely. This division is wide open for us. I mean, if we could win the division by only winning 7 games a year or two ago, we have an easily good opportunity to win the division again this year. I mean, you look at what derailed us last year was injuries. I mean, we had Chase Young go down. Our defense was very banged up, very injury prone. I feel like now that we're going into this offseason healthy, our defense is going to keep on getting only better. You add in a guy like Garrett Wilson, who's going to help out Terry McLaurin. I like where we're positioned. I think we have a good chance to win the NFC East this year.
Big respect.
All right, with that, I believe it's because of our trade that Seattle is now on the clock instead of who would have been Minnesota. But because of our trade earlier in the day, we have the Seahawks on the clock now.
Yeah, the Seahawks have to take Thibodeau. Somebody has to take Thibodeau. There's no way. I don't know how in the world Thibodeau fell to number 12. But you have to make this pick. You have to get Thibodeau at 12. He's the best player that's available on the clock in this draft. You have to take him. It is a no-brainer.
Matt, we're going to find out who the Seattle Seahawks have picked because the pick at number 12 is in. And with that 12th pick, the Seattle Seahawks have selected Kayvon Thibodeau. He's finally off the board as we bring in Cal, not as McShay anymore. No, as our GM of the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, sorry, please go ahead, Mr. Skura. Apologies for interrupting.
Yeah, it's all good. I was wondering, seeing somehow, some way, Thibodeau falling all the way down to number 12 for you, how much of a blessing is it to help get a guy that will help improve your defense day one?
Well, I really want to try and keep this clean, but I'm an effing genius for making the trade that I just did and still ending up with Kayvon Thibodeau. What a piece for Pete Carroll to work with. We're exceptionally happy here in Seattle. We finally got rid of the stench of Russell Wilson and all his positivity, and we're getting back to the nastiness of the Legion of Boom. And Kayvon Thibodeau is going to come in here with Baker Mayfield as his quarterback, being nasty on the offense. Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be nasty on the defense. And Seattle are back, baby. The Niners are frauds. Who knows what's happening with Kyla? And the Rams, well, they're only 17 injuries away from being completely dead. So we have a chance in the NFC West again. The Seahawks are back, baby.
Will we get a signature Russell Wilson go Hawks, or there's no anything of Russ? The Russ train is just cooked and fried and buried away.
Our new Go Hawks is that after every single win, Baker Mayfield is going to plant the flag at midfield and moon the opposition coaches. So we feel really good about the direction that the organization is headed in. Baker is a guy who deserves a second chance and will prove himself this year. We made that trade earlier today, and we're really happy with the outcome. It's going to keep people like Tyler Lockett and like DK Metcalf interested to have another good quarterback for them to throw to. And with Thibodeau added to our defense, I mean, the sky is the limit. We wanted to go defensively with this pick. We've managed to accrue a third-round pick as well and still get a guy who really could have gone number 1 overall. It's genius.
It absolutely is genius. Why the mooning though? I understand the flag planting, but why the moon? Is that to assert dominance and show alpha male energy, or is it
to show what everybody else is? Their ass.
Yeah, Baker's going to Baker, and we need to give him some creative control, and that was one of the things that he wrote into the contract was he wanted that with no fines. So, I'm going to give Baker some credit and let him do his thing. He's going to prove a lot of people wrong this year, and I'm going to be very happily standing alongside him as he does that.
Will you moon too?
No, I'm not in good enough shape for that.
Well, it was definitely a pleasure to have you on. I also expect to see a shirtless DK Metcalf as well. If you got mooning Baker Mayfield, shirtless Pete Carroll, you got to have shirtless DK Metcalf.
Yeah, we have put in a request to the league to let DK Metcalf either play shirtless or play in a see-through uniform specifically designed for him, just so everybody can be intimidated by his 12-pack. We're waiting on our commissioner to decide.
It's just the top see-through.
Yeah, just the top is see-through. The rest of it, whoo, you'd love to see it, but it's not PG. So we're gonna keep the respect for the league, and the pants that he's wearing are not gonna be see-through.
Well, I've heard that Christian will no longer be watching the NFL now.
Shame for him.
It's crazy times. With that being said, I believe we are up to pick number 13. That would mean the Houston Texans are back on the clock.
I mean, you're looking for the Houston Texans. You at this point in the draft, when you're on pick number 13, you have to go with whoever's best available. I mean, at this point, whether it's somebody on offense, somebody on defense, just take whoever's best available at number 13. You got a lot of holes to fill, got a lot of things to do. Just take the best prospect that's there at number 13.
And I think for the Texans here, there's definitely an opportunity to go defensively, considering that they picked up Evan Neal at number 3 first time round. You could be looking at someone like Jordan Davis on that defensive line. The Texans have had huge success with defensive linemen in the past. You look at the empire that J.J. Watt built down there for a while. So let's see if they maybe go with someone defensively on the edge or up front to try and stop the run. But equally, I think this run on receivers is coming soon. Brandon Cooks is a great receiver, but he isn't getting any younger. I think he turns 30 in 2023, maybe 24. So let's see if they maybe look to start this run on receivers with obviously Garrett Wilson and Drake London off the board, but Jameson Williams still there, Treylon Burks still there, Jahan Dotson still there. There's plenty of talent here for the Texans to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of talent for the Texans to look at. Definitely, the Texans they're gonna be a quite an interesting predicament. I don't think you go wrong with either or on what you decide to do. Yeah, I want to ask the commissioner, how's it feel barely being booed? It's been for the most part, quiet. There's in years past there's been a lot of boos. That's what people are looking for, but. See, I've barely heard a boo. I heard like one or so boo, but
that fan's an idiot. Whoever booed me.
I was gonna say whoever did.
I'm doing a fantastic job. I'm running this mock draft beautifully.
Definitely. Why do people hate the commissioner Roger Goodell? Why do you get booed at every draft? I need to obviously like at this point now you haven't been booed, but in years past, why did people boo? Like what was their problem?
I think they're just mad because I have so much money that they want to be me. You can't be me. There's only one of me, and a little jealous there. So. But I feel like people have gotten over it, and they've accepted that I'm the best commissioner in sports. So you can't hate me forever, okay? Eventually, the people just fall in love. Well, with that being said, the Texans pick is now officially in. It was a little longer than we would have liked. But the Texans have selected Jameson Williams. Now, I do have a little our GM with the Texans can't be with us, like I said, but I do have a little statement from him. He said, superstar with 4.3 speed is exactly what we need on this team. I expect his return mid-season around week 10 with almost 90% of his pre-injury explosive back by the last few weeks of the season. We're not in win-now mode, so let's get the best weapon in the draft to see if Davis Mills can do something with him. If not, I'm sure Bryce Young will love him next year. I'll let you guys analyze that, but before I do that, the next pick in this draft does belong to the Baltimore Ravens. So they are now on the clock.
Yeah, and I will say the way how the Texans explain their pick, I think they're going at an interesting approach. I think it makes sense if they want to take Williamson and then just have him take his time to get healthy. Because at this point, if you're the Texans, you're really not ready to compete for the playoffs in the AFC. And when you're not ready to compete for the playoffs, why compete during the regular season? Just take and get a good draft pick. It's borderline useless. I mean, there's a lot of other things to do in Houston besides watch the Texans at the moment. You go to Astros game, you go to some strip club sponsored by James Harden, and you got a lot of fun to do out there in Houston. And I just think at this point for Houston, they're probably going to take 2 to 3 years to go tank back to square one. I think started that off, you got Jameson Williams, and I think they perfectly explained that if Davis Mills doesn't work, you got plenty of good QBs in next year's draft. You got Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, plenty of good young talent. And I think for the Ravens side of things, I think you got to take Jordan Davis out of Georgia. He's the best defensive player there, and I'd say you'd have to go for it.
Well, we have the pick. The pick is now officially in from the Ravens. They are going with Jermaine Johnson II as we bring in Mr. Josh, our Ravens GM. Maybe. Black screen. Not what you love to see here.
Technical difficulties, it happens.
Oh,
let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say let's see if we go.
It's heartbreaking.
He's looking a little frozen there backstage, so we'll let him, maybe leave the stream, come back in. We'll let you guys analyze that. But
yeah, I like it. I like the pick. Baltimore always want to rush the passer. He's a great edge rusher out of Florida State. I think that Baltimore, adding more to that fearsome defense, they've now got to go and chase down Deshaun Watson in the AFC North as well. So I think it makes a lot of sense for Baltimore. TJ Watt's had a lot of success in that division in the last couple of years. Why shouldn't Baltimore be getting after the QBs just like that?
Yeah, and that's not the only thing that's chasing down Deshaun Watson, if you know what I mean. But, overall, you look at the Baltimore Ravens, it was a great pick to help them out defensively. I think if they were to go any route on defense, I wouldn't have been mad with it. I think them.
Well, Matt, I hate to interrupt you, but listen, we're moving fast along here. I see that Josh has joined us. So, Josh, I'll give you about a minute to explain your pick because, listen, people, we're moving fast now. The Eagles pick is already in, so I got you about a minute, and then we got to move on.
Well, I'll be very quick. As the Baltimore Ravens, I don't need any introduction. We already know that we're going to be steamrolling this year. Obviously, we had some holes to fill on the defense, and Jermaine Johnson does that perfectly for us. He's exactly what we were looking for on the edge. He's going to complement our team very well. We had some people back out in free agency. We had some other things going on. This guy's 6'4" with an 83-inch wingspan. Best player on the board for us. We did not need to move up because we knew exactly what we were going to get. This guy is a steal in the draft. The fact that he was sitting for us at 14 is just insane. But number one on our draft board, we are so happy to get Jermaine Johnson the second, and we couldn't be happier.
Well, Josh, I appreciate that very much. Like I said,
I will say that he's going to be used like a chess piece. We're going to be able to move him around the defense, especially when we get people back from injury, just like it was used over in Michigan just like Mike McDonald used to do in Michigan. We're going to be able to plug those pieces around with Jermaine Johnson. Going to be a staple for the defense for years to come. Watch out, Ravens flock.
Thank you very much, good sir. And the pick is in for the Eagles. They are going with Kyle Hamilton, as we are joined by our GM, Mr. Ben.
Yo, what's up, guys? How are you tonight?
Let's go.
We're doing great. Hold on. Are we about to go to a Philly game or what?
It's not going well.
I gotta support the Sixers, man. They're in a tight one with the Raptors. So
Tight one. You're down 13.
Oh, look at this.
Man, we got
Okay, there we go. Sorry, Ethan tried to call me. The reason we picked this pick is all because of the Debo trade. We got our wide receiver we wanted. We got our new linebacker to help complement TJ Edwards and Kazir White. And we got our offensive lineman from the 49ers replacing Brandon Brooks. Our safety needs a little bit of work. Right now it's Rodney McLeod and Avonte Maddox. And I think Kyle Hamilton is a great young piece. He's rated number 3 in the draft by most boards. And to get him at 15, I think is just quite a steal, to be honest. So we were ecstatic when we got him.
It absolutely is quite a steal. How are you able to get Deebo Samuel out of San Francisco, 1, and then 2, what kind of extension will you be working on for Deebo Samuel?
So we talked with the 49ers, and part of the deal is that Deebo will be signing an extension here in Philadelphia of at least 3 years. So we're excited to have that. And, the 49ers have no leverage at the GM spot. He only has one more year, and Deebo would have been out. So we got him off his hands early because we know Jalen Hurts is our future quarterback, and he needed a little bit of support with Devontae Smith. So Deebo was totally our guy, and if we need him at running back too, we know he can do that in case Sanders goes down or something crazy happens. He's just such a great utility weapon, and we're thrilled to have Deebo for a long time.
Yeah. So and how do you feel when you see Eagles fans shouting you out saying that's your GM? Do you think you're going to be better than Howie Roseman ever was?
I'm pretty sure a 4-year-old could do better than Howie Roseman, but I appreciate the support, Matt. No, I'm really excited I made the trade. I think it was a great move for all sides, especially because we got Drake Greenlaw, an excellent outside linebacker to help Alex Singleton and TJ Edwards out.
Absolutely.
Mr. Hoyt, you made some great moves today.
I appreciate it.
And let's see if those birds can make it to the NFC East, because the Cowboys are imploding. The Commanders are slowly grinding something. The Giants are grinding something. But
well, guess what, Matt? I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to implode this conversation as well because, Ben, it was a pleasure having you on. But listen, we got another pick in already, people.
Thanks, Scotty. Go Birds.
So with that being said, the Saints are on the clock, but the pick is already in. And with that pick, oh my gosh, there we go. We have Trevor Penning by the Saints. So we bring in our GM here.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Nothing much. A pleasure to have you on. What went into making this pick? Was it something to help improve the line for Jameis, or was it just trying to fill in some sort of team need?
Yeah. So I figure it's kind of a little bit of both. The Saints do well with protection, no matter who's at quarterback. So losing Teron Armstead, that's a big deal right there. Trevor Penning's a monster. What's he like, 6'7", 325, something like that. Love having him over there. Hopefully he can start game one. That would be awesome. I don't feel like he's as game ready as Cross or somebody like that, but I think he's a great pick, and I think either way he can definitely be a franchise tackle for us.
It's a really nice pick for New Orleans. I think that's something that you really needed to address after Teron Armstead moved to the future Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins. So having done that, and now you found a way to protect the jewel in the crown that is Jameis Winston, how certain are we about Winston moving forward? And are you maybe considering looking at a quarterback with your second pick later on in round one?
I'm not going to reveal what we're looking at with the second pick, but I will tell you I'm pretty confident in Jameis with a decent offensive line. I don't know how far he'll get us. Only time will tell. But I do like the direction that he's heading in and the effort that he's given forth to be the starter in New Orleans and to lead the team.
Absolutely, definitely a great analysis of the picks there. Will we get a who dat chant to see who's gonna beat them Saints?
Who dat, baby? Who dat? Who dat say they're gonna beat them Saints?
Thank you very much for joining us, my good sir. And I believe we'll see you later on in the draft as well. So We'll see you later. With that being said, we are now up to pick number 17. That would be the Los Angeles Chargers. They are now on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Chargers, I mean, you barely missed the playoffs because your head coach likes to choke on some things. It was absolutely brutal what the Chargers did, and I think you have to find a way to bounce back at this point and draft anybody besides a quarterback. Your surefire position is QB with Justin Herbert, and you just have to take whoever's best available. And you might have to go with somebody on the defensive side. I would say you have Jordan Davis there at 17. If I'm the Chargers, I might say, why not? Why not help bolster this defense that already has Joey Bosa, already has Khalil Mack? You add Jordan Davis to that. I think you guys yourselves a scary defense for the Chargers and could possibly go to the Super Bowl unless if the Spanos curse continues.
I like the idea that maybe they go cornerback here. Trent McDuffie appears to be someone that could be someone they're looking at. J.C. Jackson and Asante Samuel already in that team. adding McDuffie would be a really nice kind of three-piece cornerback situation there. But yeah, I agree with you. The Chargers are so very close from being, a big-time team in this league.
Well, maybe this pick will bring them even closer because the pick is now in. And with the 17th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers have selected Jordan Davis as we bring in our GM, Mr. Jimmy. Jimmy, you're muted. Just unmute yourself real quick, and then you're all good. I don't want you to be Perry or Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't
Oh,
have
you're
that.
still muted. Hold on. Let's see.
There we go.
Oh, that was
Jimmy.
beautiful.
Good lad, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'll start it first by Jimmy. How shocked were you that Jordan Davis was able to fall all the way down to a 17 to where you were located?
I'm very shocked. Really, he was my first choice, and I thought, well, if I can catch him there, but we're thrilled here, and we think he's going to be a vital part to an already well-run machine.
Jimmy, was there any thought about potentially going cornerback, or was it always on the defensive line that you were looking to add?
Like I said, Jordan was our original go-to guy that we were looking at, but we also looked at tackle and guard positions. Just a lot of interior help is the big thing that it seems like we may need, but we can still pick up some of that with the later rounds.
Absolutely. And then seeing the meltdown, what happened last year, obviously an absolute travesty, losing to the Texans and then losing to the Raiders like you did in such a bad fashion in week 18. What are the expectations now for this year? Seeing that you traded for Khalil Mack, you re-signed Mike Williams, you still have Keenan Allen, you have a loaded offense, a loaded defense, including this Jordan Davis selection. Is the expectations for the Chargers to at least make it to the playoffs, or are we trying to strive for a Super Bowl?
I think Super Bowl is definitely in our minds. We're going to try to make it there, and we're going to do everything we can to support Herbert and get him the weapons he needs to get us through it.
Absolutely. Well, it was definitely a pleasure to have you on, Jimmy, and I think you have the Chargers set up very well for a potential chance to dethrone the Chiefs in the AFC West.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy, as we move him on out of there. We are up to pick number 18. That would be the San Francisco 49ers. They are now on the clock.
And the San Francisco 49ers being on the clock as a result of some very weird trades that we've had so far today. I think if I'm the 49ers, you've got to be looking at trying to find ways to find who your quarterback is. They're definitely going to be looking at either Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo. I think for me, you've got to let Trey Lance start and just see how it goes. We know what Jimmy Garoppolo is. He's a cancer who will not win you games. You cannot win a championship with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. You may well be able to ride an exceptional run game to a Super Bowl, and you may be able to get extremely lucky in Lambeau Field and fluke your way to an NFC championship game. But the San Francisco 49ers will not win anything serious until they establish who their quarterback is. It may not be Trey Lance, but you need to find that out, and you need to get Jimmy Garoppolo the hell away from that field as quickly as possible. I don't see them going quarterback here. I think they'll probably give Trey Lance a year and see how he develops. But if you were the 49ers GM here, Matt Skura, who would you be looking at?
Well, listen, I can give you the answer to it right now because the pick is in.
If I had to choose, I'd say Chris Olave, but we'll see who they select.
And with this pick, the 49ers do, in fact, select Chris Olave. And a little, just quick, explanation here. Simple. Best route runner is what I'm hearing from the GM. And with all that being said, though, the Saints are back on the clock at number 19.
Yeah, and I will say for the Niners, that was a no-brainer. When you trade Deebo Samuel, you had to take Chris Olave. There was no other option. He was the best receiver that was available on the board coming out of Ohio State, and he has a potential to be the best of the best. And I think if you're the 49ers, you now have Olave. You better ride with the Lance train, and if you don't run with the Trey Lance trade, then you got to stick with porn star Jimmy for another year. And, we'll see what happens there. But the 49ers make it to the NFC Championship game just this past season with Garoppolo. So we'll see what they do here. But Chris Olave was definitely a great pick for the 49ers themselves.
Couldn't agree more, really. I think the Niners had to replace Debo, obviously, having sent him off to Philadelphia. And yeah, Olave is the obvious choice with the receivers who are still on the board.
Well, listen, we're moving fast once again. The Saints pick is now in. And they are going with Daxton Hill as we are joined by their GM once again.
What's up, fellas?
Absolutely nothing much. What went into this decision for drafting Daxton Hill?
Losing Malcolm Jenkins and losing Marcus Williams. We still have CJ Gardner-Johnson over there, but he's really good in that nickel spot. So we definitely want a true safety there. I think Daxton Hill is right there under Hamilton. He is a little smaller in size, but I think he's a hard hitter. And look, it runs in the family with this guy. His brother Justice Hill is the running back for the Baltimore Ravens. He's got it in his DNA. And I think with a guy like Dennis Allen, he can really succeed with us.
And then absolutely, I do want to add on one more thing. How much faith, seeing that your first two picks, in some mock drafts, they have you taking a quarterback, but you decided not to go with the QB route. Does that mean you have full 100% faith in Jameis that he's going to recover well from his ACL injury and stay healthy?
So I'm not going to say I have 100% faith in Jameis. I think Jameis is going to do well. But at the end of the day, this quarterback class just really wasn't my favorite. So where I'm at with that is, hey, let's give Jameis another year. Let's get him an offensive tackle, see if we can give him some protection. And, hopefully he can get by. If not, we'll reevaluate next year.
I think it makes a lot of sense for the Saints to give Jameis another year. I like the pick. Everything you said about the lack of defensive support makes sense. And, the lack of Sean Payton is going to be really interesting to see this year in New Orleans. I think there's a clear gulf, with all due respect, between the Buccaneers and everybody else. Obviously, the return of Tom Brady has caused that. And hopefully the Saints can continue to do what they do, beat him twice every year, and hopefully we can send him off into retirement, never to be heard from ever again.
That would be beautiful.
All right. With all that being said, thank you very much, my good sir. As we move on once again, I believe now the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock at number 20.
This is a fascinating opportunity for the Steelers. Whether or not they believe in Mitch Trubisky will really dictate what they do here. I've heard a lot of buzz about them really liking Desmond Ridder, the quarterback out of Cincinnati. So I could see Mike Tomlin potentially saying, let Desmond come and learn for a couple of years behind Mitch Trubisky, who is going to be a massive upgrade on Ben Roethlisberger. Broken Ben, as we've been calling him as a result of the last couple of years. But equally, you could maybe see them trying to add on the offensive line. The Steelers, need to get back to that run game, and Najee Harris is obviously very talented. Someone like Bernhard Raimann out of Central Michigan could be someone they look at as a offensive lineman, or the center Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa.
Yeah, no, I will say that this could be a hot take, but I could see the Steelers maybe going a QB route here. I mean, we've seen the QB selected in the draft, Malik Willis at 2, Kenny Pickett at 7. I think you look at Pittsburgh, I'm not sold one bit on Trubisky. I mean, he was terrible on the Bears. He got lucky. He made the playoffs twice. 1 year he was lucky because they were 12-4 because of the Bears defense, and he was lucky that they were 8-8 because the Cardinals did the biggest choking ever seen. And I just think from a standpoint of, I think if you're the Steelers, and obviously God rest Dwayne Haskins' soul, but it's a brutal shame that you lose out on a guy like Dwayne Haskins, because that was another quarterback on your roster. That was a guy who was young in his mid-20s and could have potentially been, a backup guy. Now you're stuck with Trubisky and Rudolph. I think if you go for a QB in a draft like a Matt Corral or Desmond Ridder, I think that could be a guy who could give great competition in the QB room, and he could potentially be a guy who you could actually build as your future quarterback. Because Trubisky is just a rental piece. Trubisky is not a future. He, in my honest opinion, is a permanent backup quarterback. And I think here, if you go with the quarterback route, I think that answers all of your questions. You don't have to start him right away, but it gives you some sense of insurance of, okay, this is going to be our guy for the future. We'll suck this year, get below 500. But the following year, we'll throw him in, and hopefully, the Steelers will, find a way to get better. Now, they could obviously avoid a quarterback and they could go somewhere else, but I feel like a quarterback route would be the best choice for Pittsburgh to go with.
Are they going to want to, I guess, sign off the Mitch Trubisky experiment before it's even started? I wonder if they do give him this season to start with and see where he goes. It's a team-friendly deal that he's on.
Oh, absolutely. You give him a chance this year. You basically say that Trubisky is your week 1 starter, but I kind of have a feeling it's going to be like the Sam Darnold situation when he was first in Carolina. Like Sam's first year was, all right, Darnold, you're going to be our QB1 starter, but if you start to suck or you get hurt, you're going to get pulled right away. I feel like that's going to be the same thing for Trubisky. You're going to have him start this year. You're not going to have either Ritter or Matt Corral, depending on who they pick at 20. If they do go quarterback route. But I'm just saying for the next year, that's when you should be able to see Ritter or Corral being thrown in the mix.
Any thought to maybe replacing Juju Smith-Schuster with a wide receiver?
I mean, you could go that route as well. I mean, you could get George Pickens out of Georgia. You could also go Treylon Burks at receiver. You could go that route as well. I just think, when you look at a quarterback route, I think this could be a situation to where you can, because you look at the Steelers, they only got 2 quarterbacks on their roster. If you want to roll with 2, you more than certainly can. But I feel like you look at here, the 2 QBs that they have, they got a big old forehead that gets slammed Mason Rudolph by Myles Garrett, and you got Mitchell Trubisky. Those do not scream promise to me. That screams very rental-ish and just kind of, all right, let's see what happens here. And, we're just barely skipping by. And, I think when you want a real QB post Big Ben retirement, and I can't believe, Colin, you disrespected Big Ben, your bell tower like that. That was pretty brutal up there. But
listen, it's just a clock. It's just a clock.
Quick shower, then you can come help me.
It's literally your whole identity.
It's just
that's a little bit harsh.
Nah, T is I capped. My bad.
I got 40%.
Now, I also learned that biscuits are crackers, right?
Biscuits, cookies.
Well, I need to know, why do you drive on opposite sides of the road? Why is it that America is right and left, and you're left and right?
You guys have always been backwards.
Actually, no. I got a real question. Why are all your trees caged up?
What do you mean?
I feel like all the trees there are like in little cages.
It's a wild question. No one's ever asked me that before. People have asked me a lot of things. No one's ever asked me that.
Well, listen, I want to know why. Well, listen, I only ask hard-hitting questions.
No, I respect the journalistic integrity. I'm just trying to put it together in my head. I don't really.
Well, listen, we finally have a pick in from Alex.
Oh, that's good. That'll help.
Man, only took 26 minutes. He's going with Kenyan Green. He's giving me a little explanation here. Green can play outside or inside, and at Texas A&M guarded defensive lineman and edge rusher.
My bad. Sorry, that was an ad. I went on too long.
Honestly,
bulldozing drive blocker with horsepower to consistency, clears paths. I didn't know he was a truck. Adequate patience and body control to connect on second level, which with Trubisky at the helm, and the ability to grab a QB in the second round. Trubisky in place. The offensive line is priority. Back to smash mouth ground game with Pitt, with Najee. Build the line is the plan.
I think that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Colin. The floor is yours. You could.
No, I respect the logic. I might have gone with a slightly different player to fill that role, but I respect the logic, and I definitely think that Pittsburgh, unearthed the diamond in Najee Harris, and if anything, that's a reason to believe in that. You still can draft running backs in round 1, and they can still be valuable in players like Najee. But obviously, we've seen so far tonight, we're out of the top 20, no running back taken. I wonder if we'll see one at all in round 1.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We'll definitely see what happens there. I think it's a good pick for Pittsburgh. If they want to try to build up their offensive line, I think that is the way to go from that standpoint. And, I think that's right. You definitely can take a QB in round 2. If Ritter, if even Sam Howell falls there at round 2, you could easily select that as well. But I think for the first round, getting some help for that offensive line, I think is going to be great for for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we do have some breaking news. The Boston Celtics have swept the Brooklyn Nets 116-112. So the Brooms are out at the Barclays Center. And we also have to free the trees.
The Patriots are on the clock, by the way. Just throwing that out.
Who do you guys think the Patriots are going to go with at 21?
Somebody that nobody's ever heard of.
Do you think they do the Bill Belichick special and trade out of round one?
They could, and they probably should.
Will we also possibly see the dog?
You know, these are all questions we might be able to figure out one day.
Yeah, we might. I know this is off topic, but baseball. But Connie, since you're big into baseball, you know, shout out Backstop Banner on Thursdays. Thursdays around, I think, 10 o'clock Eastern.
9, baby.
9 o'clock Eastern. Why is Angel Hernandez, the dumbest ump I have ever seen?
That's one of the best accidental Patriots jokes I've ever heard.
Listen, I'd love to answer that question, Matt, but we do have a pick in from the Patriot GM. Oh, Green? That's not the pick, by the way. Devin Lloyd, linebacker out of Utah, we're going with at 21.
All right,
this makes a lot of sense. The Patriots love to pick up some defensive talent, and Lloyd is someone who I've seen mocked in around this range, and you know he seems to be one of, if not the premier linebacker in this draft. So I like this for the Patriots, and it hurts me to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we
definitely
to explain too.
Hey guys, it was a tough decision for the Patriots organization. We really considered Jameson Williams in this spot as well, considering the cap space and the amount of receivers that we could use on this roster. But Devin Lloyd definitely gives us a linebacker that we haven't had in many years in New England Patriots, one that can actually cover a running back or a tight end out of the on a route. We actually had to change the way that we think about linebackers as well. Like we've over the years have had the run stuffing, you know, the 6'4", 250-pound linebackers. Like those guys just don't exist anymore, and if they do, they can't cover anyone. So this was a good pick for us as an organization, and I think that he will add a lot to the defense.
Absolutely, I think it's a great pick there as well. Seeing what the Patriots did last year, for some people exceeded expectations, for others followed up like usual. You make the playoffs, but you get absolutely boat raced by the Buffalo Bills. Seeing that Josh McDaniels is now with the Raiders, how do you feel like, one, your offense is going to do with Mac Jones, with the potential new offensive coordinator, and two, how do you feel like the defense is going to be with the addition of Lloyd, but the subtraction of a guy like J.C. Jackson?
Yeah, first off with the offense, I think, over the years we have plenty of, success with multiple coordinators and guys coming in that know our system, the way that we like to do things around here. Bill Belichick is, has his handprint on everything in the organization. I don't think nothing much changes as far as that goes. I think I think Josh brought a little bit of creativity to the OC room, but I think we have guys that can step in and do the same thing that Josh is doing here. As for the defense, I think losing J.C. Jackson, obviously we had to make a decision on that, is tough, but I think the addition of Devin Lloyd and, getting our pass rush up there, actually getting more pressure on the quarterback in the front seven will help our quarterbacks and our secondary as well. We got guys there that we've drafted in the past that need to step up, and this is their opportunity to do that.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate
Thanks,
the analysis. As we move on, I believe because of the trade that we had,
I think the Falcons are at 22.
Yeah, this 22nd pick is for the Falcons.
Anyways, I do want to pull this comment. I mean, I guess they're right. Only I would mess up and say Aaron Hernandez instead of Angel Hernandez. Both start with an A. But besides that, why is Angel Hernandez so bad, Connie? Like, how do you miss that full count when it's 1-0 in the bottom of the ninth and 1 out?
Listen, Matt, I will give you full analysis on Backstop Banter Thursdays at 9 Eastern, okay? Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
What is this baseball you speak of?
I don't know. It's a game where you actually have to score to win.
You know what?
Can't tie like in that stupid soccer thing you guys watch.
I was gonna say, you know what? Callum might have saw firsthand 2019 Yanks Red Sox when it was in London, when it was like 6 runs in the first and then 6 runs in the bottom half.
I did actually try to get tickets to that unsuccessfully, but yes, I was watching, and I did understand that I should not like either of those two teams, the Yankees or the Red Sox.
You should love the Yankees.
So instead, I decided to I decided to pick a team that is a bastion of integrity that we can all look up to and cheer for the Houston Astros. So
you just don't like the Yankees because we beat you in the war.
What's a war? I've never heard of
the war for independence, my friend.
Yeah, I've never heard of one of those.
Man, it's still salty over that. I should. Actually, I don't know how tea tastes. I'm not a big tea guy.
Tea is not salty. I'm gonna tell you.
I was gonna say, yeah. I don't think it's salty. What is it? Are we going with sweet or what is it? Tangy?
Yeah, sweet. I mean, it depends if you put sugar in it or not. I mean, to be fair, the biggest lie that anyone ever told is that English people all drink tea because most people just drink coffee. So.
Listen, I know one girl from England. She drinks tea.
Well, if you're 1 for 1, then I guess that's got to be the facts, right? But no, I mean, look, listen. I'll say this about the Major League of Baseball. It's entertaining when it gets to the playoffs. 162 games is an absolute joke, and until baseball accepts that less is more, they will never be relevant in a nationwide discussion as a major sport in this country. It's
kind of like how soccer already is in this country. Anyway, we move on because the pick is in from the Falcons, and they are going with Mr. Breece Hall as we bring one of the worst GMs back in Christian. Look at this. Can't even see his head.
Nice knees, bro.
Pause.
How you guys doing?
Oh, wow.
Great.
You're not
great. Interesting you've gone for a running back here. I like the fact that we're doing running backs in round 1. What was it about Breece Hall that made him stand out above everybody else who you could have taken here?
He just seemed like a bigger, better version than David Montgomery coming out of Iowa State. And we talk about, the offensive line was a little bit of concern, but when Penny came off the board, who was my initial target, I really started looking at the roster. Obviously, I gave away Mike Davis to the Packers in that trade to acquire pick 22. So naturally, my intention was to reload at that position. So going into next year with Marcus Mariota, I don't expect him to get, maybe 6-7 wins at best with this roster. It's really just building the foundation for whoever I want at quarterback in the following draft. So I got the running back, wide receiver, tight end for the future, and then I can sprinkle in Cordell Patterson as need be throughout the offense.
Was there any sort of resistance to trading away Calvin Ridley?
No, he had kind of, in my opinion, spurned our franchise in terms of, the mental health stuff was fine and we had no problem accommodating that. But, betting on games involving the Falcons, which is just a blatant disregard for your position that you have in the NFL, which is a clear no-no. It's something they go over very extensively. So, if you're the type of player who's going to do that, there is no room for you on our team. However, he is a very talented wide receiver, so achieving some sort of value, gaining him back while he sorts out his legal process with the NFL, just is what we want going forward. Obviously, one can make the case that we didn't get quite the value that we should for a Calvin Ridley, but in terms of changing the culture and turning the page, it was a no-brainer. It was an addition by subtraction type situation.
Well, the pick does make a lot of sense. You said you like bigger men, and I know that is true about you. So with that being said, we say goodbye to you, and we go on to pick number 23, which belongs to, I believe, the Arizona Cardinals. Am I wrong?
C.
23.
The Cardinals in an interesting position. Is the pick
guess
in already?
I can tell you they have picked it already.
Hell yeah.
And the Cardinal pick. Listen, the first name's George. You're gonna have Karolif. Something. I'm not a big name guy, you know what I mean? But we have somebody who can say his name, our GM.
What's going on, boys? It's George. I believe it's Khalifas, if I'm not mistaken.
Whatever you say there, boss.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm not great with names either, but what I was able to watch on film was fantastic from this guy. And as the Cardinals GM right now, we have a lot of holes. I would have loved to took wide receiver here, but I want to continue to maximize this defense with a lot of big hitters we have to deal with, like the Rams and 49ers here. And we lost Chandler Jones this offseason. It's 11.5 sacks we just lost. We need a new outside linebacker, someone who could play that position here. George, it was fantastic at Purdue, someone who really got off the snap with a burst off the line there, someone who was able to get yards lost for a tackle. He didn't have as many sacks as we would have wanted him to have, but he has a ton of upside that we really like, and I think he's going to really make a big effort, a big addition to this team.
Mr. Pintado, great pick. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The key question really in amongst all of this is, what is the deal with Kyla Murray, and when are you guys going to wake up and just pay the man the money he deserves?
You know what? We know the situation with Kyler right now. We want him on the team. We want him as Arizona Cardinal for life. There's a lot of situation going on behind the scenes. We need to handle. We know we're working on it. Both sides are, you hear it in the media. There's some rumbling going on, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. We know we want Kyler Murray for the long run. It's going to work itself out. You've seen it time after time with some big name quarterbacks with frustration with their organizations. Eventually, it will work itself out here. I don't believe that Kyler Murray is not going to be an Arizona Cardinal for the next 5 to 10 years. So have no fear about that.
I do also want to throw out, you have made some extensions. You extended the GM yourself, and then there's also an extension for Cliff Kingsbury. How come you gave Cliff Kingsbury an extension when the process has seemed like in the last 2 years you start off strong, but you finish not so good? Like even like 2 years ago, you start off 5-2 and you finish 8-8 and miss the playoffs. And then just this past season, you start 7-0, but you finish 11-6, 12-5, and you get bounced in the first round. How come Cliff Kingsbury got an extension, and how can you, in a way, stay consistent from start to finish during the season?
Right, no, definitely. I've talked to Cliff this offseason here over the last couple of years of what he's able to do here, and he's done some really good things. Obviously, our goal is to make the playoffs and make a deep run, and, we obviously haven't been successful doing that over the last couple of seasons here now. And, I talked to Cliff. I like what he has done so far, and I felt like it was necessary to keep this team afloat. We just had some bad luck this past season. Kyla Murray getting hurt at some point. We were losing DeAndre Hopkins for a big chunk of that season there. I mean, these are some of our core pieces on the offensive side of the ball that, we missed during the season, which kind of threw our season a little bit of a loop. And we're hoping that, if we can all just stay healthy this year, this whole team, that we can actually make a run with Cliff. And I think the offense he brings in and the leadership that he brings to this organization, I think it fits really well. And as long as we can all stay healthy, I think Cliff can lead us to a playoff and more.
All right, sir. I appreciate you joining us. And I don't know if you'll be back. If not, thank you. If you are, we'll see you again there, boss.
All right. Take care, guys.
I believe the Dallas Cowboys are back on the clock after smoking moon rocks the first time. We'll see what they do. Maybe they want to go to Mars.
I will say, knowing how the Cowboys trend are going, if they do not draft a kicker first round, I'll be disappointed. Because if they complete the trifecta of drafting a kicker with the 25th pick, that would be poetic.
We'll find out eventually.
Oh, it's like that. Well, yeah. I mean, the Cowboys have determined that this draft was going to be chaos from the start. Trading away CD Lamb is a very, very interesting move. But, we are where we are, and we'll see if they decide to make a sensible decision here. Logically for Dallas, you could see offensive line being the sort of pick that they were going to go in the direction here. But we'll see.
Yeah, let me tell you something. The facial hair is looking good today. I'm just throwing it out there. Cal, I know you can feel me on that,
I'm trying, man.
Yeah, then there's me. There's nothing. I'm just there.
And that's still baby.
Yeah, baby face. But yeah, I mean, hey, That's what we do, I guess. But hey,
All
you know
right,
what?
so while we wait, then go on.
I need to know, Connie, why the knock on the Canada hat? Like, what's the deal? Is it just because like the oddity of it, like why I have it, or is it just
listen? If Callum pulls up with the Britain hat, I feel it's fine. Makes sense. I don't know where the Canada hat comes into play.
I've been to Canada once. I know a friend who travels to Canada, so I mean it's and I also like it's kind of cool. It's a maple leaf.
I went to Buffalo one time. I bought a hat. It was a chicken one.
And also I think doesn't a Canada pay to the Queen of England? So it's almost like a salute to Callum. Like, hey,
Callum. Now I got a question.
Right?
Callum, listen, this draft is important, but I have very important questions as well.
Go on.
How long were you over the seas over there?
I was born and raised in London, England. I lived there until I was 19.
All right.
I went to college in San Antonio, and here we are now.
All right. Perfect. That's all I needed. Now, when you came over here, what food did you eat that you were like, how did I survive without this in England?
Oh, bro, everything. Texas food is wild. For those of you who aren't necessarily regionally based in the South or the Southwest, we have a thing called Whataburger, which
this guy
is wild. So, I grew up with, your regular American fast foods, your Burger Kings, your KFCs.
McDonald's.
Your McDonald's is obviously, and, there's nothing quite like a McDonald's cheeseburger with, fake plastic cheese in it. But the Whataburger, and I have to say it with the accent, otherwise it doesn't work, but the Whataburger patty melt will change your life. Do you have any cookouts
over there in Texas?
Yeah, people grilling out, people doing
No. Like literally called cookouts, or else it's a fast food place.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm blanking on that.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, see, this is the thing is I don't know the Northeast very well. I've been to New York. I was in Philadelphia a couple of... Yeah, I've been to New York. I love New York. New York. In July.
Are you actually?
Yeah, so, New York is like London on drugs. Like, it's just all the more excessive and all the bigger. I love New York. New York's fantastic. When I was in New York for the first time...
What days in July?
The Yankees Red Sox, actually. I'm going to go on the Saturday night to Yankees Red Sox.
Do we know? Does that mean I'm actually going away in July?
I'll tell you the date right now. So my wife has a friend who's getting married. We're there the 14th to the 17th of
Son
July.
of a bitch. I'll be in Carolina.
What are you doing, son? Come down to Dallas sometime. Either way.
No, you said July?
Yeah, July.
I'm going in June. Never mind.
Oh, we're good then.
I might listen.
Right,
we might have to grab a pint.
Ooh.
Listen, the pick is in, by the way.
Hey,
great.
grab
a
point.
Don't have to filibuster anymore.
Grab a point with the lads.
The pick is in. The Cowboys are going with Traylon Burks or Traylon.
Okay. Yeah, considering the fact that they just shipped CD Lamb out like he was some piece of trash, which he is not. Traylon Burks makes sense. Fast, rapid weapon. Give new quarterback Kenny Pickett a chance to throw to someone. At the end of the day, this is and will continue to be Dak Prescott's job, regardless of the GM's decision to try and cut him. But Kenny Pickett will learn behind Dak for a couple of years and then probably get traded somewhere else. But I like Traylon Burks as a wide receiver. I think he's a good pick out of Arkansas, Woo Pig Suey and all that good jazz. Good for the Cowboys this after butchering the first two rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. This was somewhat of a decent pick for them. I was shocked that they actually made the right pick. But...
It's almost like they had a different GM this time around.
Yeah, I had a feeling it might have been a different GM. Maybe Jerry Jones was sleeping, and so Stephen Jones went
Stephen
in.
got to pick. Yeah.
Stephen got the pick. I could understand that, but we'll see what the boy Kenny Pickett can do with Traylon Burks. Maybe it's the new Tony Romo to Des Bryant, or the at one time Dak to CeeDee Lamb.
Well, the Buffalo Bills are now on the clock. Just to update everybody on where we are in this mock draft, that would be pick number 25.
We're nearly there. And this is one spot where I thought we might see Breece Hall go, who obviously went a couple of picks back there. But I do think that the Buffalo Bills could be looking potentially at a running back based on the fact that their best running back is their quarterback. And as much as you don't want to limit Josh Allen's rushing, you also don't want to overuse it and potentially lead to injury, because Josh Allen has the Patriots in his back pocket and has done for about 6 months now. So let's see if they try and draft a running back here.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense for Buffalo to get a running back as well. I also do not want to hear any excuses from Bills Mafia about losing overtimes. I don't want to hear it. We changed the rules for you. Now go win. And if you don't, then sucks to suck, pal.
I believe in the Bills. I believe in Josh Allen. They've made Brandon Beane, the general manager, has done some fantastic moves. They've tied Stephon Diggs to a long-term deal. You've got Diggs and Allen for another 5-6 years for sure.
Well,
and
they're going to have this
Miller
player
as
on
well.
a rookie contract for the next few years as well because the pick is now officially in. The Bills are going with Zion Johnson, not Williams, by the way. Josh Allen is not only the future of the Bills, he's the future of the NFL. Zion Johnson can play center, both guards, and right tackle. Protecting your franchise quarterback will never go out of style. With that being said, the Tennessee Titans are now on the clock at pick number 26.
Yeah, and I will say, Zion Johnson, Zion Williamson both could play for offensive linemen for the Buffalo Bills today at this rate. You couldn't go wrong with either or, but I would most preferably go with Zion Johnson. I think is a good pick for Buffalo. Helps bolster up the O-line, which can help improve the run game. And overall, it's going to be exciting. And Zion Williamson, cut off of the gumbo, please. We need to see you play.
This is true. I believe we have also a change at the Tennessee Titan GM position, which is why we see Callum, desperately typing away here.
Yeah, let's see. What's
in, and his pick is also in. We're gonna go with. I'm gonna try this one too. Bernhard Raymond.
Not bad. For a German pronunciation, not terrible. Bernhard Raimann, potentially an interesting offensive lineman pick. A really interesting story. He's an Austrian kid who first played football on a club team in Vienna, age 14. He was a high school exchange student. He played receiver for a while, went back to Austria to finish high school, and then decided, because he was so excited to continue his football journey, to commit to Central Michigan. But he even had to do a 6-month military commitment in Austria. So didn't start working with the team until 2018. He was a tight end for 2 years. The pandemic hits, and then got moved to tackle as a 290-pound player. And all of a sudden, is an NFL draft pick. The Tennessee Titans continue to lean on Derrick Henry, as they should, as they will, with him being one of the best running backs in football, if not the best. And protecting Ryan Tannehill when he does have to make a throw is important. So I'm not surprised that the Titans have gone offensive lineman here. And I like the Bernhard Raimann pick personally.
Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up, and their pick is also in. They are going with Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, you're getting the run on lineman here. The center out of Iowa. Again, another person to try and protect Tom Brady. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you're getting
That's not to be confused with linemen that have the runs. This is a run-on lineman.
I absolutely agree. I think this is a great pick here by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want to hear what the GM has to say about it. But overall, I think it was a great, successful pick. Help out the old GOAT. Try to hobble around. Maybe he could scramble for 2 yards instead of -2.
Well, we were thrilled about this pick here, guys, with Tyler. We had him as one of our highly graded interior linemen here. I'm surprised he was still on the board at this pick here. Clearly, with the Bucs, we lost a couple of good offensive linemen, especially in the interior this offseason. One to retirement, one heading to Cincinnati, and we obviously need to shore up that line. We have Tom Brady, and he's not running the ball that well. So we're going to make sure that we give this man time in the pocket to be able to throw to our premier wide receivers on our team here. And, of course, we signed Leonard Fournette. So we need to make sure Leonard Fournette is also able to find holes in this offense here and continue to run at a high level that he has for us. Tyler is an all-pro in college here, someone who kind of reminds me of Jason Kelce from the Eagles. And, he's just a big physical interior lineman that, can stand with the best of the best when he did in Iowa. So we're thrilled to get him. He's going to be a great addition to our line.
And with the premiere of the final episode of Tom Brady's Man in the Arena coming tomorrow afternoon, is there any fear that Brady might? Yeah, that is true. Facts.
Wow,
tomorrow.
that's just
Final episode of Man in the Arena. It's big time. Yeah, I'm just doing Adam Schefter's job, but way better. Is there any thought that Brady might just be about to completely bury your organization by confirming that he was in fact trying to become player owner of the Miami Dolphins?
Brady has told us, and we trust him, that nothing to create drama for this team will be coming out tomorrow. It's all about winning one more championship for him, maybe more. We'll see, but at least one more championship for Mr. Brady.
All right, gentlemen. I think we're all good then. Thank you once again for another beautiful pick there.
Good job,
It's
Steve.
been greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, with that, I believe it is now up to pick number 28, and that would be the Green Bay Packers on the clock.
Well, the Green Bay Packers, such an interesting situation here. You felt like they needed to get a wide receiver to give Aaron Rodgers a chance after the loss of Devontae Adams. They have picked up a wide receiver in Calvin Ridley, but he can't play because apparently it's illegal to put an accumulator bet on games you're not even playing in, which is ridiculous. Free Calvin Ridley. But they've also added Mike Davis, which feels completely pointless based on the fact that A.J. Dillon is just a massively improved version of Mike Davis. And Aaron Jones is fantastic, even though he's probably going to be departing the Packers within the next couple of years based on cap gymnastics.
I have breaking news here. The pick is in.
Great.
And the Packers are going with George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. And our GM is already on screen, of course, because it's the Packers. And did you really think Matt was going to let anybody else take that?
No, absolutely not. With this selection, I felt like it was a no-brainer. I knew with one of our draft picks, we had to go with the receiver. We had 22 and 28. Obviously, we made the trade at 22 to get Calvin Ridley. I was already aware that Ridley could miss the season. This was kind of more of a planning on for the future of our receiving core. You look at our receiving core right now, it's Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Amari Rodgers, Sammy Watkins. I'm sorry, that's not really promising at the moment. That's pretty much relying on our run game.
Robert Tonyan.
I mean, yeah, Robert Tonyan is good, but he's more of our tight end side of things. And then when you look at our running game, I think this is going to be a situation to where for this year, we're going to have to try focus on the run. You got Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. I feel like Mike Davis could be a good selection, especially Matt LaFleur, kind of around the Sean McVay, Shanahan kind of tree. They like to do a lot of running options. I feel like adding Mike Davis could add another element to that run game there. And I just see George Pickens, a pick out of a wide receiver out of Georgia. This was another weapon that we needed. Knowing that Ridley could be out for the season, who knows? I'm trying to work on getting some lawyers who freed O.J. Simpson. If I could find a way to get that, I think we had a good chance to see Ridley play week 1. But you never know what happens here. Maybe I could try to strike a deal with the commish here in a hot second. But, you never know what happens there. But for the most part, I like where we're situated. Our defense is very solid. Being able to re-sign Campbell, Rasul Douglas, we took very good care of our defense. Obviously, losing Devontae Adams sucks. We lose a Hall of Fame wide receiver, one of our best receivers in franchise history. But I think we've replaced it pretty well. Signing Sammy Watkins, bringing in a guy like a Calvin Ridley, who, yes, he does have a year left and he could be suspended for the season, but he's a good piece for the future. And getting a guy like George Pickens, I think will help elevate our receiving core. And it is definitely, when you bring back, Aaron Rodgers, some people call him Throw Rogan or however you want to classify him as, I think we're going to have the great expectations of winning the division again. We have part ownership of the Bears. We're going to get past the Vikings. The Vikings are going to be absolutely irrelevant. They're going to be a no-show. Yeah, they may have got Derek Stingley, but, Stingley ain't nothing to me now. Absolutely ain't nothing to me now.
It's hard to disagree with you, Mr. Skura. I think your explanation for the trade made way more sense than the actual trade itself. So fair play for defending it. I like that. And yeah, the Lions are who the Lions are. We'll see if Malik Willis can, turn into the quarterback they hope he will. Kirk Cousins is a fraud, and the Vikings are destined for doom, much like the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo. So we'll see.
And the Cowboys with Dak. But by the way, the Chiefs are
I wasn't expecting that name in that discussion, but
the Chiefs are
on the clock. So let's see what they do here.
The pick is in, actually.
And aren't they back to back? So are both
Oh,
picks
they
in,
are
or is
back
just
to
one?
back. Like you cover a lethal weapon.
Hey, Jordan 96, 97.
You know what? Exactly.
And 98 for a three-peat.
Oh, see, Matt didn't understand the Drake reference.
It was going back to back, but I just
The Chiefs need. Oh, actually, I read the explanation first. Andrew Booth Jr. is the pick here. The Chiefs need help in the secondary without new talent in the AFC West. Booth is a great fit and can contribute right away.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the Chiefs need something. I mean, at this rate in the AFC West, you look at it seems like all the other teams have improved. The Chargers have improved, especially adding Jordan Davis in the draft and the offseason that they've had. The Denver Broncos obviously adding Russell Wilson, who will cook for about 6 to 8 weeks before it gets overcooked and fried. And then you got the Vegas Raiders, who decide to go after a guy in Devontae Adams, who's one of the best receivers in the NFL, probably the best in the NFL, and then decide to give Derek Carr, body built like the Sid's evil brother, from across the street, 3 years, $120 million. And, we'll see what happens there. But the Chiefs, you still got Pat Mahomes. Yes, you even lost Tyreek Hill, but I think you replaced it pretty well in the TikTok game with Corvette, Smith-Schuster, Jackson Mahomes. That's going to be quite a dynamic duo there. Getting Marquez Valdes-Scantling, basically the broke man's version of Tyreek Hill, who has speed, but hands are very inconsistent, as one would say. And I just think you got to find a way to replace the team, and hopefully the Chiefs will be competitive in the AFC West, because it's going to be a dogfight year in and year out.
Well, we have breaking news that the other pick is in, because they were back-to-back, like the cover of Lethal Weapon, Jordan 96, 97. They're going with Christian Watson. And our explanation is we need to try and fill the loss of Tyreek Hill, and Watson is a good start. He can do a lot of the same things Hill did and will do great alongside Kelsey, Juju, and MVS.
I like it. It makes a lot of sense. He runs sub 4.4. He's, a huge catch guy who can really continue to blow up this Chiefs offense. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, anybody in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' system is going to be able to be productive. If you have God at quarterback, you can kind of get away with other things. Patrick Mahomes is going to become the greatest quarterback to ever play this game. He will be when he retires.
You mean he's going to get more than 7 rings and basically break every single passing yard, touchdown record, playoff wins record, playoff passing yards record.
I was really hoping that was going to be a flagrant enough statement for the commissioner to express an opinion rather than you, Mr. Scorer. To be fair, I do think he will take most.
It was foul. It was a foul statement.
I do think he will take most, if not all of.
All the way out to Pluto.
No, I think he'll take most of the records. The rings is a fair point. The rings is a fair point. But I do think those records will eventually fall to Mahomes, if he continues to play in Kansas City in offense, because they are just unbelievable, impossible to stop. And,
get old, right?
Rumors of the Chiefs' demise have been greatly exaggerated. And people suggesting that the Broncos and the Raiders will be relevant are out of their mind. This is the Chiefs and Chargers division. Russell Wilson has moved to a division to be the 3rd best quarterback in it, and that is a shame for him. And the Raiders, until similarly to a lot of the teams in this league, until they draft a real quarterback, the Raiders will not be able to get over the hump.
You got no love for Carr?
I've got no issue with Carr. Derek Carr is a serviceable quarterback. Derek Carr is a fine quarterback. But as you are seeing, in order to win a Super Bowl, to get to a Super Bowl, you must be an elite quarterback. Burrow and Stafford, elite quarterbacks. You need to have someone who has that ceiling. And unfortunately, nothing personal, but Derek Carr does not have that elite ceiling that players like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes, like Tua Tagovailoa do have. And so, it's a real, it's an interesting situation.
Did you try to put Tua turn the ball over in the
That's really good. I've never heard that one before. That's really good. I like that. That's really good. I'm going to steal that. All jokes aside, Allen and Mahomes are 1 and 1A. The Kyla Murrays of the world are right there. And, it's just until Derek Carr proves that he can be in that conversation, which I think is above him, to be frank. The Raiders, unfortunately, I love the theme, silver, black, crossbones. It's great organization, great stadium, Josh
We got a
McDaniels
cool
will do
nightclub
good
there in
things
the
there.
end zone, too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I got nothing against Vegas. Seems like a cool place, nice and family friendly, all healthy, all good. But to put it
1000%.
politely,
Especially the showgirls, too.
to
Very
put it
family-friendly.
politely, Derek Carr is not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, just like Kirk Cousins is not, excuse me. And it's
back.
just sorry, you broke up. You must have said something I didn't understand there. And so, we're gonna end up in a situation here going around in circles.
Yeah,
but
you also got to watch out for speeding in Vegas too. I heard it's very deadly.
Ooh,
see,
too soon? Too soon? I don't know. But let's see what the Bengals do here at 31. This is going to be an interesting pick. Coming off a Super Bowl loss, which has got to be a heartbreaker for the people of Cincinnati. But Joe Burrow, such an incredible season last year, and that offensive line has finally been improved with their offseason signings. So, Mr. Skura, where do you think the Bengals are going with this pick?
I think the Bengals have to go with somebody on the defense. I think they took care of their offensive line well in the offseason, especially bringing in a guy like La'el Collins from the Cowboys. I think they did a very good job taking care of the offensive line. Their offense is pretty solid. When you got Joey B, looking great out there. You got Jamar Chase. You got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Your receiving core is set. You got.
I hate to interrupt you, but the pick is in. And the Bengals with the 31st pick are going with Trent McDuffie.
He was still there?
He was there, mate. As we bring him in.
I completely missed that.
As we bring in good old Jimmy to explain his pick.
Daddy. Yeah, we were surprised as you that he was still there. I was looking for a cornerback. I saw that some of the ones that I was going to take were taken, so I started going through and realized he's still available. So why not bring him into Cincinnati and see what he can do here?
100% right. I had him as a top 20 pick. To get him at 31 is a steal, and basically down to the quarterbacks going earlier than we thought, and a little run on offensive linemen has allowed the cornerback to fall into your lap there. And Cincinnati have got to be elated with that, because honestly, he's a fantastic addition to that defense. I thought he might go as high as 16 or 17 to the Chargers. And for a Bengals team who were a couple of plays away from a championship, adding a caliber of player like McDuffie, they've got to be happy in Ohio right now.
Oh, absolutely. We're looking forward to building on the offense that took us to the Super Bowl last year. And with this new defense, I think we can really, really go right back and win the thing.
I definitely like that confident mindset there. Getting McDuffie, I think, is huge for your defense. Seeing how close you were to winning the Super Bowl the previous season, failed just a little bit short. How do you get back to the Super Bowl, knowing that the AFC has gotten a lot better? The Ravens are going to be a lot healthier. The Browns getting Master Masseuse Watson. How do you improve and try to get back to the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, you got to take it one game at a time. But I think basically once Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase get in there, they're really taking over that offense, and the way that they're running it, it's going to be a new generation of players. And like I said before, building on this defense, I think we can really make something happen next year.
Well, Jimmy, I appreciate you coming on as we move on into the final pick of this draft that belongs to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, one thing I will say so far throughout this first round of the draft, it's been quite an eventful draft. There were definitely some surprising expectations. I was shocked they went with Malik Willis at 2, but through explanation, it made sense. Obviously, the Cowboys decided to blow it up.
The last pick of this draft is in. The Lions, in the final pick of the Unwrapped 2022 NFL Mock Draft, are selecting David Ojabo, something, I think.
Yeah.
How about we try Cameron?
David Ojabo. Remember that name.
Hey, just think of it as a El Chapo, but it's Ojabo.
Ojabo tore his Achilles at his Michigan Pro Day and probably won't play in 2022. So in actual fact, this is just a genius move to ensure that we have an incredible defensive player once he's healthy, but not next season, so we can get back to the top of the draft again and draft highly again in 2023. So in actual fact, we've played this perfectly as the Lions. Malik Willis is our quarterback of the future, not of the present. We'll continue to allow Jared Goff that role. We want to keep Kristen Harper in town as long as we possibly can. And then on top of that, Ojabo will be a fantastic piece for us in the future. If he hadn't torn his Achilles, he would have gone way higher up here. And as far as we're concerned, we're really happy to have added a fantastic defensive presence out of Michigan, who will be fantastic, from 2023 onwards.
Absolutely. I think the Detroit Lions, they've set up some bright spots for the absolute future. But what kind of went into this draft pick at 32? What was kind of the mindset going in, knowing that you had your QB of the future, Malik Willis? Were you shocked that Ojabo fell all the way down to 32, even though he has his torn Achilles?
No, I think there were some late teams who I thought might go and look at him. I thought maybe the Packers at 28, maybe the Chiefs at 29 or 30 might have a look at him. But obviously that changed once the Packers traded out of 22, meaning that they were definitely going to go receiver at 28. I think for us as the Lions, we felt confident that in our early pick in round 2, we'll be able to add a wide receiver to complement one of the breakout stars of last year, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So completely honestly, we saw quarterback early once Hutchinson was gone. If Hutchinson had been there at 2, we would have taken him and maybe tried to move up from 32 quite aggressively to try and make sure that we got Malik Willis, who was always the quarterback that we were after. But I think on day 2, we'll probably be looking for a receiver to complement Amon-Ra, and we'll be very happy with this in Detroit.
Well, listen, folks, that concludes our mock draft. I'll give our analysts 1 minute to, sum up everything, maybe give their final thoughts. And then I'll also tell everybody where they can find you at. And then we'll head on out of here.
Absolutely. Well, I will say my thoughts overall on this draft. I thought it was a pretty solid draft. The one thing that I would honestly say that threw me off was the Cowboys basically going into full rebuild mode. That kind of threw me off. I didn't expect them to go that route, but I would say for the most part, everything pretty much stayed the course. The only shock I would also say as well is Thibodeau falling all the way down to 12, and then Jordan Davis falling to the Chargers. But I think for the most part, everything kind of stayed in a way according to plan. Teams like Green Bay got their receiver weapon. The Jaguars decided to go more defensively with Aiden Hutchinson, and the Texans getting Evan Neal. I think we saw the top picks, and for the most part, this draft made the most sense.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think it was fairly solid from top to bottom. Obviously, you had this year's Jordan Love moment with Kenny Pickett going to the Cowboys at 7 once they acquired that from the Giants. I think that's probably unlikely to happen on Thursday when we get to draft night. But no, I think it was great. I think everyone did a really good job. I mean, I'd just like to say quickly on behalf of myself and Matt as well, a big thanks to AC, Anthony Conover, for commissioning this whole thing, and also to Perry, who's running things in the background, the big boss of, Unwrapped Sports here. And Perry puts in a lot of work behind the scenes, as he's right there. Thank you, Perry, for all the work putting this together. Fantastic. And then also just let's thank all the other GMs who took their time. Obviously, everyone's got lives. Thanks to everybody for jumping in, either in the group chat or on the live stream, for making the picks here. And look forward to next year's draft already, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Sir.
You always got to look forward to next year's draft. Where they can follow us, you could follow my Twitter handle down below at Matt_Skura. Give me a follow there. Also my Instagram at Matt_Skura21. Both of those links in my bios on Instagram and Twitter give access to my link tree, which gives access to my sports podcast. I mean, our good friend Caleb do, called MCS Real Sports Podcast. We talk all things NBA and NFL related. You name it, it's available everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, iHeartRadio, you name it, it's there. And as always, it was a pleasure to do this mock draft. Definitely going to be excited for Thursday. And hopefully, in real life, the Green Bay Packers take a receiver in round 1, because if they do not, I will be questioning myself for a couple minutes.
And I'm Callum Squires. I'm at Callum JD Squires on Twitter and Instagram. largely sports content, a little bit of soccer, which I know Anthony's upset about, but plenty NBA, plenty NFL. And just recently, I've been lucky enough to do 4 interviews with NFL draft prospects. Grant Morgan, linebacker out of Arkansas, Brandon Bowling, wide receiver out of Utah State, coming tomorrow, Justin Covington, running back out of Villanova, and then later this week, Scott Nelson from Wisconsin as well. So those are going to be on my Twitter and Instagram for a website called The Touchdown in the UK, just somewhere else that you can see stuff I'm writing if you are interested.
Remember, lads, it's coming home.
It's always coming home. We just don't know when.
Listen, as for me, Anthony Conover _ over on Twitter for all my thoughts on the world, which is sports only. Monday's Generational Sports. We did this before the mock draft, me and Josh. You can follow that at Gen Z Sports right there. Talk a little bit about everything. Tuesdays is the hard count with me and CJ. Break down everything in the football world. Obviously, that'll be tomorrow at 9 Eastern. A lot of draft coverage over there. And then Thursday, I got Backstop Banter with Michael, where we do everything in the baseball world. So, with all that being said, you can find all those podcasts as well. Everywhere you listen to a podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. But listen, people, all that being said, Calum said it already, but shout out everybody who joined the mock draft. Our analyst, Perry, running in the back, the GMs, anybody who watched. And listen, with all that being said, we appreciate it, but we'll see you next year. And as that says below, make sure you go follow everybody, all right? You have a good one tonight.